Welcome to our second video. This will be a demonstration tutorial on Synthlab, which is the second part of the TamTam suite of music applications for the OLPC XO computer. To start Synthlab, you start it from Mini TamTam and you select one of the four icons that correspond to the four slots that you have available in Mini TamTam to play Synthlab made sounds. So you select one of them and hit the small red button at the top, and this will open the Synthlab interface. Synthlab was conceived as an educational activity. It is meant to provide an environment to explore the physics of sound, to introduce kids to logic of circuitry, and to give concrete example of applied mathematics as it relates to sound. So the Synthlab interface consists of 5 different parts. There's a work table over here where we will do our circuits. There's a bank of modules. There are 3 types of modules. There are sources, the green boxes over here. There are processors, which are the blue boxes, and there are controllers, which are the yellow boxes. We have on the right-hand side of the screen a bank of 10 presets. Now, these presets are useful because they show us different examples of circuits that can be done or can be built with Synthlab, and they work right out of the box. And then we have the 2 boxes at the bottom over here. The slider gives you the possibility of changing the duration of the sound that you are going to do. For instance, if I go in this same example, I do it'll be shorter. And if I go over here, it will be much longer. And the last panel over here gives you tools that allow you to save the patches that you have done or to call them back. The red button allows you to save the sounds that you have made so that you can use them in Mini TamTam. And then there's a little garbage can over here that allows you to reinitialize the work table over here. It just clears it out, puts everything back in its places, and you're ready to begin a sound building session. The 3 different types of modules that we have in Synthlab, they serve quite a different purpose. The sources are essentially what make the sound, and then you can hear it. The filters or processors that are over here, the blue boxes, will modify that sound. So typically you will take a source and then you will put it into a processor and be able to alter the quality of the sound. The controllers are things that will allow you to control the behavior of the sound in time. So it means that, for instance, a controller will be applied to one of the inputs of the sources to give it, for instance, a vibrato or a tremolo, or to change some other aspects of the timbre. You can also use controllers to regulate how the filters or processors will be modifying the sound. So a typical session of Synthlab will involve first choosing a sound source. The sound sources are the green icons over here, and I put them on the table by clicking on one of them and dragging it onto the table like this. Now, sound generators are of different types, and you can have access to the parameters by right-clicking on the icon. And this will bring up the various types of sound source that you can have and the various parameters that control what they will actually do. And you can close by clicking on the X over here. So in order to connect the units together, we simply click on the output of a unit, in this case a source, and we click on the input of a destination, which is the loudspeaker. So this will give us a connection. As soon as we have a connection, we can start playing on the keyboard. So this is going to be a very boring sound because it's a straight source. So let's right click on the source and take a look at what we can do. Now these controls can be actually controlled by controllers over here. So let's close this and we'll connect one of the controllers to this slider over here, the modulation index. Now they're all different for the different types of sources that we have. So let's close this, and we're going to take a controller and bring it over here. Now this is an envelope generator. We're just going to open it, and yes, this is an envelope. It has a rapid decay over here, and we will be able to apply that time variant function to the modulation index. So we're going to do the same type of connection by clicking once over here and on the third input over here to get the connection. So the connection is now made and the sound is going to be like this. Much more interesting. So we can vary a few of the parameters over here to get a different sound. This is going to make it higher. Perhaps it was more interesting this way. That's interesting. We have a good timbral change over here. So I'm going to close this, and now what we're going to do is we're going to put a sound processor between the source and the output. So we're going to get one of the blue boxes over here. We're going to connect the output of the source to the input of the processor and the output of the processor to the loudspeaker. And we're going to delete this by this one over here. We're going to delete by clicking on it once. So now we have a sound processor or filter that we put on the output of the sound generator or source. So we're going to right click on the processor, open it, and now we have a harmonizer selected. So let's see what that sounds like. So we have like two notes playing together now because it doubles the note at a different pitch. So let's change the frequency over here. We're going to put it higher, so or lower. Or we can try a different type of processor. We're going to try the delay over here. So we're going to put a little resonator, in fact, is what this is. So this adds a little resonating frequency. I'm going to turn down the level a little bit. And there is our circuit. So we're ready to play with it. We can make it longer over here, and we can put a final envelope on the amplitude by right-clicking on the loudspeaker. We're going to give it a nice little attack, little release, like this. Close this and see what this sounds like. That's very nice. We have a sound that we like. We're going to record it to Mini TamTam by hitting the red button over here. So it's going to wait for me to play and then record it. Voila. Now we can close Synthlab and get back to Mini TamTam, and our sound should be waiting for us in the slot over here. And indeed it is. There we go. It becomes a regular Mini TamTam instrument that we can play with the keyboard. So this concludes the Synthlab demonstration. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned. We're going to have some more little tidbits for you in the near future. Thank you.